Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video is a replay that I had in the Mogami, the Tier 8 Japanese heavy cruiser. I'm divisioned up with my buddies Yukug and Puddin597. They're playing in the New Orleans, the Tier 8 American heavy, and the Edinburgh, the Tier 8 British light cruiser respectively, and we're playing some domination here on the map Okinawa. So, this replay is titled The Slippery Snake. It's a play, of course, on my gamertag, and the reason being is not only is this a very solid replay, which of course is a staple of our channel, we certainly aren't here to show you subpar gameplay, you come here to watch some cool stuff, but just notice throughout the course of the game how I'm able to, I guess, tank damage without necessarily taking damage, if you know what I'm talking about. For those that play games like League of Legends or Dota, stuff like that. I don't remember what the term is called, and if somebody in the comment section could point that out for me, please do so. But it's basically taking damage for your team by drawing their fire, whether it be by, spells or attacks or whatnot. But you're not actually taking damage, or if you are, in very limited doses. So you're basically getting the enemy team to focus on you while you're allowing your other friends and teammates to be able to do damage or whatever the case may be. And also, at the end of the game, I'm going to show you the potential damage that I received. And the number is probably going to jump off the charts rather quickly and rather vehemently, to be honest with you. It's just a game that shows how cruisers need to be extremely vigilant, how you need to be maneuverable, how you need to look at the minimap and really pay attention, because, quite frankly, I think cruiser players in general have the hardest time in game. Obviously, destroyers, you have torpedoes and the best concealment. Battleships, you have the armor and the extremely powerful guns. Aircraft carriers even have the ability to spot destroyers, destroy battleships, and, just completely tie down entire areas of the map, where cruisers, you really do have to be on your best to be able to get good results. But when you do have good results in cruisers, they are amongst the most satisfying in the game. So anyway, with all that blabble done, I'm getting my first shots of the game here at the enemy Otago. Get about 2,000 damage done with 2 shell hits, and I do incapacitate, I believe, his torpedo tubes. So at this part, a little map strategy here. I've been doing this a little bit more often. B and C on Okinawa are definitely the best places to go cap, because A, you see there's all those islands up there, and at least in domination, once you get up there, the island, the large one that's roughly from D5 all the way down to E4, that big one right there, it's rather tall and rather large, and when you're in A, it makes it very difficult to actually get effective fire at the B and the C cap. So if you're able to get B and C, it's very similar to how it works on Mountain Range, where you're forcing the enemy team to come around either end of the island group that's up there, and you can easily make plays on them. I did get some nice shots there at the enemy Benson, and I do manage to get 4 defend base ribbons there, get a few hits on him, did over 4,000 damage, and obviously this is something that the Mogami is really good at, is dealing with destroyers, because you have a 9.3 detection range if you go with a full concealment build. And what this allows you to do is, well, quite frankly, almost, and in some cases, completely surprise Soviet destroyers. The Khabarovsk at Tier 10, for instance, has a base detectability of 10 kilometers, and I believe the Udaloy is like 9.1, 9.2. So this cruiser is very, very good at contesting caps, at least when enemy destroyers are the only ships present. The Mogami does have a rather large citadel, however, so you certainly don't want to be going broadside too often to try and reset caps. But if you have the ability, or if you have the ability to be able to do so, definitely take advantage of it. And I'm also launching my torpedoes, 10-kilometer torpedoes. I believe they're 65 knots. They're very good torpedoes. And even if you don't manage to land hits, just the fact of the nice range on these things can get enemy ships to turn away from whatever course that they were on. So at the beginning here, the enemy team has captured A and B, while we're about ready to capture C. My buddy Puddin manages to lay a smokescreen in front of me as he gets some shots downrange. However, the majority of the enemy team is heading up towards Alpha. There's an Agado and a Buki and a Full Health Iowa that I saw. There's also the Fletcher in B, and he's running back away as well. So as we get the assisted base capture here in the next couple seconds, the enemy team is doing exactly what we want them to do, and that is, of course, to go up north. And it, again, makes it a lot easier to defend, and you'll see that here as the game progresses. So I get another broadside out out here on the enemy Otago. He's at 14.5 kilometers away, and he's moving away. However, he does turn to his port side, so all the shells are going to miss. Another thing about the Mogami, when you combine the really good concealment with a very, very good rudder shift, it is sub 7 seconds, and when you also combine that with a pretty decent turning radius, this thing moves on a dime. It is very difficult to hit when you're changing speeds up all the time and when you're adjusting your course all the time as well, and it's something that I want you to really pay attention to when the enemy battleships will be inevitably coming down towards Objective Bravo. Anyway, getting some shots here now on an enemy York. Unfortunately for that poor bloke, he is AFK at the moment, so obviously ped them stits a little bit, but might as well get the kill really quickly when he is not a threat whatsoever. It's 276 to 456. We have lost 2 of our destroyers, so at this point I do have the best detectability range, I believe. I don't think the Otago gets better, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But either way, we still have Japanese cruisers that are left on the team as the enemy York gets taken care of, so they can work as de facto DDs. Unfortunately, my buddy Coog over there gets caught in a broadside, not only from the Benson, but also the Fletcher, and as he was turning away to get away from them torpedoes, he takes 2 right in the side, so he is dead. So it's still looking pretty bleak here, and at this point, as I'm turning around to try and kite away from the ships that are rounding the headland up there, before the Akatsuki got spotted right there, I was going to get angled away before I started to shoot. However, I do get detected. Unfortunately, he is within 9.3. However, I am definitely going to shoot. And another thing the Japanese cruisers are really good at, besides hunting down destroyers, is using these torpedoes is a defense measure to just push enemies away. And although I mentioned that earlier, it's something that really cannot be overestimated with these ships, because it allows you to keep the enemy at arm's length. And I suppose that's what I was trying to find in my vernacular earlier when I was trying to articulate to you guys what these things are extremely good at. And you're going to notice here is these battleships around the headland with those torpedoes that I sent out will be able to do. So at this point, this is a very standard tactic in your Japanese heavy cruisers. It also works very well in your Soviet cruisers as well. Kiting away and being angled away from all the ships that you're dealing with. The biggest angle that I'm giving is to that enemy Hipper, who's 11 kilometers away from me. And I am completely angled away, however, as I manage a solid 7,000 points of damage there and set of fire. I'm also angled away from the enemy Tirpitz that's up there as well. So the Hipper has the best opportunity of dealing damage to me. And those torpedoes are going on the Tirpitz. Unfortunately, even though they got 10 kilometers, they are going to run out here. But you see it forced the Tirpitz to turn away. So he did have to shift his attention, momentarily away at least, from those torpedoes, which is always a good thing. I'm now looking for some shots here at the enemy Hipper again after I shoot a broadside at the Tirpitz. He does get his forward guns, and it appears that the Hipper is backing up. But you can see here I've been messing with the throttle, messing with the rudder shift, and I do not take those hits. He overestimated my speed, and that's really the thing with these Japanese heavy cruisers. Again, if you're able to get about half speed, and then you speed up to 3/4, and then you slow back down a little bit, it can just be exceptionally difficult to hit these things. And again, there will be plenty more examples here after this. So I shoot another broadside at the Tirpitz as I start to turn in, and unfortunately the Friedrich Grosse makes his presence, so I have to continue to turn. If I straightened out and then tried to turn back to starboard, it probably wouldn't work out too much for me. I am assuming that he's shooting at me, so I'm just going to continue my turn into port as I go undetected. Akatsuki shells fly in, and I do manage to tank one off the hull and take no damage. And then I believe the Friedrich Grosse, yep, there it is. The shells come in, but luckily for me, I continue my turn to port, and I will be okay. I go undetected, of course, and then at 9.3 kilometers, I get detected again, and the Akatsuki does go off as well. So now I have a decision to make. Do I feel that I'm going to be able to make the turn in time before that Freddy is reloaded? And I decide to do so. However, as soon as I start to get to the full broadside part of the turn, as I drop torpedoes, I'm now going to go very hard in slowing my ship down. The speed drops instantly. Will the shells fly past? Yes, they do. One just off the bow, the other's just a tad short. And once again, I was able to turn in very much so and be able to dodge those incoming shots. I get a double fire with over 5,000 points of damage done. I do manage to tank one shell for 2,500 points of damage, but I'm certainly no worse for the wear, really. As I get yet another broadside out at the enemy Friedrich Grosse. I did get shot up by the enemy Tirpitz, but I did speed up, so his 2 forward guns managed to land behind me. And then the Akatsuki appears at 9 kilometers as well. I do manage to get under the fire on the Freddy, which is exactly what I was going for, to try and get him to turn away. And as I get another broadside here out on the enemy Akatsuki, his shells fall harmlessly off, once again messing around with the speed on the ship. Shells flying in. Almost get 2,000 damage done. I do take a pretty decent hit, about 5,000 there. I'd probably take it from the enemy Tirpitz. However, once again, the angle that I'm presenting, even with a rather large citadel on the ship, it's just really not that bad whatsoever. I'm now looking here for another broadside as I go undetected. Going to switch to the cinematic view here because look at the lovely sky. It actually looks pretty cool. I'm a fan of the aesthetically pleasing parts of the game, and certainly they do a wonderful job of rendering the sky in all of its wonderful colors. Anyway, another broadside shot out, and I'm just kiting away. I'm not the focus of their attention here, which I certainly should be, especially when you consider there's 3-4 battleships up there, but they're not aiming at me, so hey, whatever. I keep going undetected because by the time that I'm done, or by the time that I reload, almost enough time has passed for me to go undetected, so I can choose when I want to go detected. And that's really important here. So I'm looking for another broadside here on the enemy Nagato. He's at 13 kilometers away. However, there's Atago, a Kutuzov, and there's also another cruiser that are coming down here as well. We have since captured objective Bravo, and we are bringing the scores back. And once again, you can see here as I lay a fire on the Nagato, he overestimated my speed, and the shells fall harmlessly off my starboard side and slightly far. So once again, very good stuff here. Unfortunately, the Kutuzov takes out a friendly Nice now. It's 429 to 644. The Kutuzov is running away, so I'm going to continue to focus on these enemy battleships. They're all more or less still at full health. I'm up to 84,000 points of damage, but we do have the Rune, a friendly Iowa, and a Friedrich de Grosse as I pick up the Confederate that are moving up north to deal with those battleships. So again, I'm just going to try to deal with these guys, set fires, be that annoying kiting cruiser that they really have not made a concerted effort to deal with me. Yes, I have taken some shots, but I still have about 2/3 of my hit points left. At this point, however, the enemy Ibuki is overextending, and while the Kutuzov and the Atago are running away, he continues to push in. Now, we do have a friendly Amagi that's way off to the southwest of my position, and he is going to manage to land a solid hit here on this Ibuki right through the bow and do about 4,000 points of damage as I manage to shoot my full broadside out. There it is. The Ibuki's on 3,200 points of health. Excuse me, that was terrible. I do manage to kill him. They'll land 3 shells, all penetrating, and I managed to secure my first kill of the game. 97,000 points of damage as I get another broadside here out on the enemy Atago. So with that threat neutralized, the scores are almost at about 100 points. Actually, we're only 90 points down. 545 to 633 at this point, so good stuff there. My buddy Puddin managed to pop his smoke next to the island, and he's just sitting there denying those enemy cruisers the ability to get close to Objective Bravo. Unfortunately, our Friedrich de Grosse gets killed by the Iowa. However, that Nagato has been burning for quite some time, so now I'm looking for another shot here to hopefully secure the kill. He only has about 10,000 hit points left, and you can see here I am zooming in and out constantly. And I am just monitoring to see who's shooting. I see that the Nagato shoots out of the corner of my eye. I do manage to land a fire, so I turn into port, and this is going to be a pretty decent hit here, but it was nothing catastrophic. I certainly didn't take a Citadel. I took about 10,000 points of damage, and I start to turn back to starboard, and because I turned in, his next shots were short, so now I get another full broadside here on the Nagato, and hopefully I will be able to get the kill. Our friendly Amagi kills the Kutuzov. Now, I do not decide to launch torpedoes here because I'm not sure if that Iowa is going to continue to push in. At the end of the day, he didn't, but I wasn't sure at the time, so I didn't want to risk it, and that is certainly something that you never want to do. We have taken the lead now, as the Rune takes care of the Nagato, 632 to 602 at this point, and I'm getting some more shots here at the enemy Iowa. Do manage to set a fire, and once again, you can see the most broadside that I'm giving up is to the enemy Iowa, and I'm angled even better against the rest of the enemy battleships. So, kiting 101 once again. The Iowa manages to shoot at me. I do slow down. I'm only going 8 knots, and his shells are once again going to fly right on past me. Set a fire there on the enemy Tirpitz, and it's at this point that our friendly Iowa decides to make a bold charge, and he's going to go in and try to get the ram. However, my buddy Puddin manages to get 2 solid torpedoes, one into the bow and one right underneath the second turret on that enemy Iowa, so he immediately has to pop his damage con absolutely on that case, and now he's getting some really good shots. So you can see there, the Iowa was completely focused on me, and now my buddy Puddin is just managing to rail this guy in from the broadside, which is awesome, and his flooding takes care of business. Very good stuff. Another broadside out at the enemy Tirpitz. Will I get another fire? No, but 6,000 points of damage with the high explosive. Very good stuff. I'm up to 142,000 points of damage as my damage totals have certainly been spiking with all the fires and stuff that I've set. And at this point, I noticed that there's no number next to the detected symbol. I am running priority target on this thing that tells you how many ships are aiming at you, so I know that it's safe to be able to turn. I set another fire on the Tirpitz as he pops his damage con. However, the friendly Iowa is going to go in and manage to get the ram, and it leaves the enemy team with only 2 ships left. Make that 1 as the Amagi manages to kill the 3rd enemy cruiser that was over there by Objective Bravo. So now you can see here it's 789 to 523, and at this point we are pretty much guaranteed the victory here, even if we do lose that rune up there, and quite frankly, even if I were to die over here as well, it certainly wouldn't be that big of a deal. But you can see here that throughout the course of the game, yes, I have somewhat steadily lost my hit points, but I still have about 1/3 of them left, and considering all of the 15 and 16-inch guns that have been fired at my position, it's quite amazing that I haven't died yet, to be honest with you. But the proper use of angling, the proper use of concealment, and of course, managing speeds and turning at the right time is something that cannot be underestimated. Another broadside out here at the enemy frigate, the Grosser, trying to burn him down at this point. The Rune, unfortunately, is going to die here rather soon. I do manage to get a fire here on the Freddy. More of his secondaries are going in, and our buddy in the Rune just dies right there. And now I go undetected because I went behind the island. And again, 11.5 kilometers away, and I'm undetected. Very good stuff. The Japanese AP is no joke, however, as I managed to land a 7K salvo right through the butt of that Freddy, get 5 penetrating hits. Pick up the high caliber, 161,000 points of damage, and now I'm looking for a full broadside here of high explosive. His repair party has certainly run out by now. Will I be able to set a fire? A nice salvo flies in, and, well, of course not. 7 penetrating hits, and I do not manage one, because, hey, whenever they use their damage con, you're never going to get those fires, am I right? He shoots his 2 rear turrets at me, however, I am able to turn away, and once again, only take 1 shell, only 2,000 damage, not really bad whatsoever. The other 3 shells managed to miss, which is always good stuff. So, getting ready for another broadside here at the Freddy. I decided not to close the distance because, well, his secondaries are certainly mean. And if he's running a secondary build, it's a 10.6 kilometer secondary range, which certainly is something that I do not want to deal with. So, as I get my last salvo out here really quickly, I decide to go into concealment. And as I start to turn away, it just so happens that his rear turrets shoot at me, but because I started to turn to starboard, his shells all land off my starboard side. So, 880 to 627. My buddy Putin is now trying to chase that guy down along with our friendly Mogami. I believe he's on 4 kills at this point, so he's had a very good game so far. Now I'm just going to try and re-engage this guy. But, again, what you've noticed so far throughout the battle, just wonderful, wonderful situational awareness. And, I mean, I really don't have much else to say about it. It's something that you see it on the forums, you see it on Reddit, you see it everywhere. People just complain that on these wide open maps, which there are a lot of at the high tiers, they just don't understand necessarily how to play cruisers. And Japanese cruisers are definitely the easiest to play because you get the best concealment. So again, you can dictate the combat, at least against other cruisers and battleships whenever you feel like it. But I've certainly taken advantage of this, but it's not just Japanese cruisers. People just don't like them in general. And I mean, I love cruiser play. They're my favorite class of ships to play in the game. Some of my best ships in the game are cruisers, and I find these things just extremely addictive to play and extremely fun. And again, when you're able to tank damage, when you're able to have a massive impact on the game, they're among the most rewarding games you can play. Another broadside at the Freddy, and I managed to get a fire there, do over 3,000 points of damage. German battleships are extremely susceptible to high explosive damage, the reason being because they have massive superstructures and they take a whole crap load of damage. And I believe I do set yet another fire here as more shells fall in. There we go. Just over 1,000 damage, but I set yet another one. He has to immediately burn his damage con. The game is about to end, however. It's 985 to 681. So with that last salvo out, I will manage to secure yet another fire. But the timer is going to run out, and we pick up 1,000 points, and it ends a wonderful game here in the Mogami on the map Okinawa. Alrighty, guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, just shy of 400,000, 385,000 credits earned to be exact, 7,600 total XP earned. Pick up a Confederate, a Witherer at literally the last second, and a high caliber, 174,000 points of damage done off of 196 target hits and 15 fire set, 4 base defense ribbons, 1 assisted cap, and of course 1 enemy ship destroyed. Taking a look at the team score, 2,553 base XP in a tier 9 game, a very good result. I'd like to take a shout out here to Bloggins and his Amagi with 4 kills and 2,041 base XP, and then of course Putin also coming in with a solid 1904 with the base XP. Looking at the detailed report really quickly, I did manage to get a Witherer by 246 points. I think that's the closest I've ever come to not getting one. But again, as I mentioned earlier, look at the potential damage that I took. 1,127,000 points. I took, if every single shell that was fired at me hit me and did max damage, that's how much that I would have taken. A Mogami has not even 40,000 hit points. I can't even begin to tell you how many Mogamis over I would have lost if every shell hit. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And right there, that's a number that I'm really proud of because I was able to just tank damage, whether I was actually taking shells or not, drawing their fire, lighting them on fire, kiting away, and just being really annoying. And that's just typical cruiser play 101, to be honest with you. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment. Please leave a like or maybe subscribe to the channel. It's all appreciated. And with that being said, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships, signing off. Have a great day.